Now we're going to do some calculations on the screen that we just designed. We'll do that within processing. So we go to the process table. Let me open up another login here and bring up another FilePro menu and go to VG Invoices and go to screen 1. Okay, this is the screen we're going to be working on, and the kinds of things we want to do are fill in these calculated fields, these protected fields, 49, 50, 51. We want to fill in 49 whenever the quantity or the price for that line item changes. We want to put in the right charge. Same thing for the second line item in field 50, and 51 is the third line item. Then we want to add all those charges up, 49, 50, and 51, and put that total into 55, which is a subtotal of just the charges. Then we want to add the tax and shipping to that, and that's our total for the invoice. Then, if a payment is ever applied to this invoice, we want to subtract it and leave that as the balance due. If there's no payment, they owe us as money. As soon as they pay it, that balance due will probably go to 0. Okay, let's see how we do this stuff. First of all, we'll go to the end of the table because all we have so far, we'll put our beginning stuff here because the last thing we did was a when leaving routine for the ship to, which is at when leaving field 17. Now what we want to do is when leaving the first quantity field. In other words, when leaving field, let's go to, I made a little mistake here. When leaving field 37, we want to multiply that quantity times that price and put it in that charge. So let's do that. Okay. We'll say at when leaving field 37, and I'll put my little comment, 37. Okay. We want to say field 49, which is that total, equals 37 times 43. By the way, the times operator here, this little star asterisk, is the same multiplication indicator you've seen all throughout your life in school. It's basic math. There's plus sign, there's the minus sign, and in FilePro all these work. The divide, that divides two numbers, and the asterisk multiplies two numbers. FilePro uses standard math symbols to do its math. So field 49 is going to be equal to 37 times 43. Now, what do we have to do? If we change a field from within processing on the screen, how will the user be made aware of that? The only way he can know is if we display or refresh the screen. So we'll refresh the screen and we'll press end. Okay, that's pretty good. Let's see if this works. I mean, of course it's going to work. You never know these days, do you? So we'll go add a record. Let's go add in Acme 1000. How about that? Put in today's date. Let's make this an invoice rather than a credit memo. We'll talk about that later. Here I am. I should be at the ship to. I like this little routine, so we'll do it. Okay, now I'm ready to sell a product or something. We're going to invoice. Let's say we have a product and we're looking at getting a product number 222. Then we'd look up in our product catalog and pop in the description. But for this case, let's say we're a consultant and we're selling consulting hours. Okay, let's sell 4 of them. Quantity of 4. We hit enter. Notice what happened? The charge was calculated. Why? Because we said when you leave this field, multiply this field times this field and stick the answer over there under charge. So let's try this. Let's put in, let's say we charge 150 an hour. When we hit enter, what should happen? Nothing. We haven't said to do anything when you leave this field. If I hit enter again, nothing. Then I press the left arrow to go back to the quantity field. I'm leaving that field, but nothing's happening. We only wrote processing for this quantity field 37. If I were to hit enter now or go to the next field, there it goes. It calculates just fine. Let's save this invoice out. FilePro takes us to the next record, thinks that's where we want to go. Let's go back to processing. 2, we'll go to the end. Okay, there's our when leaving field routine. And the best thing we could do is, since we have to do, I'm sorry, I backed out of here. Let's go to the end. I see it. So I heard 2, so I have to go back and find it. Let's see. Clear. We're going down the line because I noticed a 2 on the screen. I'm sure you did too. Let's see where it is. I don't want to get rid of it. There it is. Okay. Didn't mean to put that there, but it heard me. It was driving me crazy. I heard it. All right. What I want to do is this processing that I'm doing along this line item, well, I want to also do it in field 43, don't I, when I leave field 43. So let's copy this processing, all right? We'll stay here. We'll say copy lines 29 to 30 to 31. Okay, now let's change it to happen when we leave field 43. 43. 43. Same exact processing. We still want to multiply the same two fields. That's pretty cool, right? Whether we leave field 37 or 43, we want to multiply both those fields and put them in 49. So that's the processing for that line. We're pretty sure it's going to work. I mean, I might as well test it. I don't have to because I'm pretty sure it's going to work. Let's see. Let's save this out. Okay. I'll go in Inquire Update and Add. I'll go back to that record that we're on. I'll press Update, Tab. I'll get to here. I'm now in the quantity field. If I press 4, nothing should happen because I haven't changed anything. But if I change this field now to say 2:15 hour, there we go. Everything's working right. I can either change this field or I can change this field. And you see it's always constantly updating things. Now what do we want to do? The very first thing we want to do is copy that processing into the next line item. In other words, we want it to happen on line item 2 and line item 3 also. So let's do that. Let's go to the end of the table. And now we have, I don't know if I went to the end of the table properly. I'm going to back out. We go in, I'm going to go to the end of the table. Okay, now I'm on the end of the table. And remember we started this process. These two lines of processing function for that one line. One does the one field, one does the other. So let's just copy those two lines for the second line item. So we'll copy from line 29 to line 32, and we'll copy them to 33. All right, now what do we have to do? We just have to increase each number by 1 to get to the next, to do the next multiplication the right way on the next line item. This would have to be a 50. This would have to be a 38, and that would have to be a 44. Same, let's see, do we also, yeah, let's do this one now. Okay, we'll change this to a 44. Change my little comment to a 44. Change this to 50. 38. 44. Okay, that gives us an exact duplicate for the second line item. Let's do it for the third line item too. We'll copy from lines 33 to 36 to 30, and we'll copy that all to 37. Didn't work right. I don't know why. So let me just try that again. I'm going to stop. I'm going to press F8, and I'm going to copy 33. That sounds right. To 36, and we'll copy that all to line 37. Good. Okay, now we'll go down there and change those. Bump them each by 1. Let me look at this for a minute. I think I messed up. I want to make sure I did it right. So here our first one was at when leaving field at when leaving field 37. And then we had at when leaving 43. That's good. That's for the first line item. Then we have 38 and 44 for the second line item. 38 and 44 for the second line item. Now we want to make these for the third line item. So this would be 39. And this has to be 51, 39, and 45. We'll bump this guy, 45. It's field 45, and this has to be 51, 39, and 45. Okay, let's save that out, and let's go try it real quick. We'll update this record. We'll tab. Let's tab again to the second line item. Let's sell line item 113 this time, and maybe that's envelopes. Okay, and we're going to sell them 6 envelopes. Doesn't matter that I put a 0 there. 6 envelopes at, let's say the envelopes cost $1 a piece these days. Okay, $6. And let's sell line item 219 or 119. How about that? And we'll sell them stamps. Who knows what stamps cost today? We'll sell 6 stamps for maybe stamps cost 48 cents today. I have no idea. Okay. Oh, but what did we do? We sold $48 stamps. Let's go back and fix that. We'll sell for 48. How about 48 cent stamps? Okay. You see how it's changing the total, the charge. Everything's working just fine. Let's back out of here now, because what do we have to do? We have to reflect those changes into the totals. That's an easy thing to do. Let's make a totals routine. Let's make a routine at the very end of these subroutines called totals. Okay? And remember, for a subroutine, we're going to have the return. I always type it in right away. Okay. Now, what are we going to put in this return, this subroutine? This subroutine is when we leave either field 37 or 43 or 38 or 44 or 39 or 45, it's going to calculate the little charge lines. We also want it to add that into the total. We want to add it into the subtotal. We want to add the tax and shipping. We're going to do all those other totals. So let's do that. The first thing is that field 55 in our little subroutine. Let's see. Field 55 is equal to the three charges, 49, 50, and 51. 49 plus 50 plus 51. Okay, that's good. What's next? The total. That was the subtotal. Let's do the total. 58. The actual total is now equal to that subtotal plus 56 plus 57, which are the tax and shipping. That gives us our full total. Now, what about balance due? Balance due is 60. Well, balance due is going to be equal to the total, 58, minus 59, which is the payment. Now, again, once we've changed all these things on the screen, don't we have to display it? Yes. In this case, I'm going to put a display right inside my subtotaling routine. My total routine. Remember, I wrote the return, so I'm not going to put the return here. I have a return. I pushed it down, so let's suck it back up. There it is. That's a little total subroutine. Every time I go sub here, all these fields will be recalculated. Now, when do we want to do this? We want to do this subroutine pretty much through every one of these at when leaving fields, starting from at when leaving field 38, don't we? So let's go at when leaving field 37, rather. And here it is. At when leaving field 37, we were just calculating the charge and displaying it. Instead, let's go sub totals and then end. That means it will not only do this thing that it always does, calculating that charge, but it'll quickly go and update all the total fields on the screen. That's pretty cool. Let's just put this subroutine everywhere now. Instead of doing a display on each one, there are a lot of easier ways to do this, or easier, or different, but I have to show you things in order. All right? So let's just go here. The thing about programming is that it sometimes can be tedious when you're doing it, but you only have to do it once. And once you do it, it goes and goes and goes. I have some old subroutines and programming that's been running for 20, 25 years because I tried to write it robustly the first time, and I only had to write it once, and that infrastructure is just going on and on and on, doing things for me forever, I hope, but of course not going to be forever. Okay, we're almost done. I now am making sure that whenever I leave any field, I update all the totals. And here they are. Here's the subtotals routine. So now I'm ready to just try this. Now, you remember I told you that I don't usually put a display inside a subroutine. But in this case, I'm not in output processing. I'm on a screen, and I do. Every time I go to this subroutine, I want to check the totals. I hear a little bing, and what is it saying to me? It's saying, so I'm pointing towards totals as if it's a bad subroutine. So let me go to I'm going to go to the label, TOT, and see where it starts with total. Doesn't, apparently. So I'm going to go to totals. Well, let me go to the end where I know that the subroutine totals is. And let's see if it's there. It's totals. T-O-T-A-L-S. That's better. Spelled it right in the comment, but not in the real label where it matters. Now I press escape, escape. Yes, yes. Let's try out all this processing. We'll go to the same screen we were on. All I have to do is press enter and tab and go down over to any one of these fields. Now, as soon as I leave this field, all those totals should calculate. They did. The three totals calculated. Okay, very good. Now let's see if I make a change to one of these fields. If I change this back to, say, $100, $150 an hour, everything changes. Changes a lot, as a matter of fact. Now, what haven't we done? We haven't done this. If I tab a couple times, I'm now in the tax field. If I add in $15 of tax, nothing changed. No good. If I add in $29.40 of shipping, nothing changed. If I apply a payment of $758.88, nothing changed. So I'm going to press escape. I'll save this record. Let's go fix that. Pretty simple thing to do. We got to make sure that from each of those fields, whenever we put in something in those fields, and they were, let's go back to our screen view, the fields that weren't doing any calculating were the tax, the shipping, and the payment. So from 56, 57, and 59, we want to go to that subtotals routine. Let's do when leaving field 56. And I'll just show you a little trick here. And it's really not something you should ever do. But I'm going to show it to you anyway because I'm trying to show you a concept here. 57. And when leaving field 58. When leaving field 58. When we leave any one of those fields, I want to go sub totals and end. Now, what does this really mean? We've got three when leaving fields with no end, no screen, nothing to end this trigger. Well, if I start this trigger up, let's say I leave this field. This is just a comment, nothing to do, so it falls to the next if line, nothing to do here on the comment. Doesn't care what the label is. There it falls to the next if line, nothing to do here, falls to the next if line, nothing to do here, so it does the go sub. And that's true from any one of these triggers. If I leave any one of these fields, it falls through until it hits this. It's kind of neat. If you have nothing else to do in several fields that all do the same thing, well, you could do this. But honestly, it's not the best programming style. Might be nicer to say on every single one. And it will in the future be better for you if you do this. Okay, on every single one. I just wanted to show you that that is possible. But I don't do stuff like that. Not if I have people watching me program anyway. All right, let's test this out. If I go into this file, into this record and into this file, and I press update and I tab, one more tab all the way down to wherever, I'm now leaving the field, I'm now in the tax field, and as soon as I leave it, everything gets recalculated. Now, why did things not calculate properly for balance 2? Why didn't I get the right amount? Because I changed things. And now if I put in the exact payment of 803.28, it's going to not work properly. Why is that? We're being left with a balance, which is really strange. I mean, this I don't understand. If I have this, I'm adding it to this. So we have 758 in that one thing, and we add that stuff. We have 801, and we put in 803.28, and there it is. The balance 2 happened to 0. It's possible that one of my fields isn't possibly right. I'm going to go check really quick on the screen, on the processing. Go into processing, go into the end. Okay, and the processing we did. Let's see. Type the word in. Let me get to the end of the processing. Okay. I'm not sure, but I think I see the problem. Okay, here is 50. We wanted to do this particular math. When we leave 56, we want to do go subtotals. And when we leave 57, we want to do go subtotals. But I don't think it's 59. If I look at the screen, field 50, let's go to the next page. And we see that it's 59 is the payments field, not 58. So I want to change this so that 59 is the field we leave. All right, 58, if you notice, let's see. 58, field 58 is the total. So we had already dealt with the total before. It's a protected field and so forth. I just had the wrong field there. Now everything functions properly. And that's how we do some calculating on FilePro files. As I leave this lesson, I'll go back in and just do a quick check. I will tab down to payment. In fact, let me show you something neat. Because of where payment is on the cursor path, I can press update and then press the up arrow, and I'll be right in the payment field. Now that it says 803.28, if I change this payment field to 801.38, it should leave me with a balance due of $2, and it is. It's functioning properly. Let me put in the same amount now, 803. back to a zero balance invoice, press escape, escape. Everything is good to go. I'll see you in the next lesson.